What exactly did Taehyung say in front of the camera that made Jungkook lose control? Is this the beginning of a split, or is it precisely the recognition that has been covered up by the agency? When one sentence from Taehyung shakes the world, Jungkook can only remain silent. Then his eyes began to glaze over. Taehyung says this on camera, and Jungkook can't hide it any more camera on. The atmosphere seemed to be what it used to be. The stage was filled with highlights, fans' voices were blaring, and BTS members stood side by side, throwing sincere smiles at each other. Or at least, that's what it looked like from the outside. But behind that smile, is there something they've been hiding? Something that even the army was never told. When Taehyung grasped the microphone with both hands, no one expected that the sentence that came out of his mouth would be the trigger for the most powerful wave of speculation in BTS's travel history. No long intro. There is no script. No warning. He just looked straight at the camera and said, in a low but clear voice, "I'm tired of hiding everything, especially about him." Nobody laughed. No one applauded. Even Jungkook, who usually reacts quickly with a joke or a smile, just froze. His eyes looked at Taehyung, as if figuring out if it was just a joke or a confession, but what happened next was no joke. Taehyung let out a long sigh, looked down for a moment, then stared at Jungkook. And that very second, the camera captured Jungkook's drastically changed expression. Not surprised, but scared.
Why?
What have they been hiding from the public? Is this related to an old rumor that was posted a few years ago? Or is it a completely new thing, a secret that only the two of them know and that is now finally beginning to unfold? What exactly does Taehyung mean by hiding everything? Immediately, speculation arose. Some fans began to recall the strange events that happened in recent months. Jungkook is suddenly absent from the live broadcast for no apparent reason. Taehyung, who often looks moody despite being promoted, and a cut of an old clip in which the two seem to be arguing in silence. Is that all a sign? But the climax is not only when Taehyung speaks, but when Jungkook finally replies. Without words, he didn't speak right away. He just bit his lip, looked down, and when he finally looked at the camera, tears had rolled down his cheeks. No one knows for sure what made her cry, but the moment was perfectly captured and has spread around the world in seconds. What happened between them? Some netizens immediately concluded that this was a confirmation of a relationship that had been hidden for so long, either a complicated professional relationship or something much more personal. Some argued that this may be related to internal conflicts that have been covered up by HYB. But one thing is certain, something was never said until that day. If so far we have only seen their togetherness as a form of brotherhood or simply chemistry on stage, now the biggest question arises. Is there anything more than that? HYB herself has not given any statements, and that only makes the rumors even wilder. Why are they silent? Are they preparing for an official clarification, or are they trying to drown out something bigger? And one fact that made it all the more dramatic. After that moment, Taehyung and Jungkook did not appear together again in public. Jungkook looks more alone, his face looks thinner, and the smile that used to adorn his face is now made up. As for Taehyung, he's kind of withdrawn. No social media posts, no interaction with other members. Only silence remained. Will this be the end of their togetherness? Or is it precisely the beginning of something more honest, more human? After years of being a perfect symbol without blemish, many speculated that Taehyung was frustrated by having to keep pretending. During this time, he was known as an expressive, honest, sometimes even impulsive figure. But is all that just a mask to cover the feeling of pressure that has accumulated? Meanwhile, fans are divided. There are those who cry, considering this a betrayal because they feel that they have not been given clarity. Some are moved because they know how difficult it is to be an idol in a world full of expectations. But what was most surprising was the insistence of some of the army to HYB to let them talk without censorship. One moment, one sentence, one look, and the world changed. What's really going on behind the scenes? Is this part of the promotion? But who would deliberately make a BTS member cry just for the sake of a gimmick? Too risky, too real, too painful. Even more surprisingly, after the incident, an old clip went viral again. In the clip, Taehyung is seen saying to Jungkook, "Don't be afraid. One day, everyone will know." And Jungkook only replied softly, "If that day comes, I hope you stay here." Has that day come? To date, the other members have not commented. RM looks quieter than usual. Jimin chose not to appear on the 2 scheduled radio broadcasts. Jin, who recently returned from the army, wrote only 1 sentence in Weverse. "Sometimes the truth hurts." Is all this interconnected? A mysterious letter also circulated among fans, claimed to be handwritten by Taehyung. The content is simple, but it hits the nerve of anyone who reads it. "Sorry, I know I ruined it, but I can't be silent forever." If that's true of Taehyung, then it's not just a matter of speaking in front of the camera. It is about the burden that a human being has carried for too long, trapped in the illusion of perfection. And Jungkook, who had been regarded as a cheerful and strong magne, finally looks fragile for the first time. Now, the public is demanding answers. But could they get it? Or will this be one of the biggest mysteries in K-pop history? The moment when 1 sentence changes everything, and 2 hearts hurt from choosing between the truth and a career. And if so, what exactly has Jungkook been hiding all this time? What could he not say, even when his tears had answered first? After that incident, the stage never felt the same again. Even though the lights were on and the music was playing, something was missing from the atmosphere that had always been warm and trusting. And when the cameras were no longer recording, as the audience slowly left the venue with their heads full of questions, Taehyung sat alone in the waiting room. Jungkook wasn't there. Managers tried to distract media attention. Some staff quickly spread the issue that the moment was just part of a more emotional, new concept. But who can just believe it? There is no script. No gimmick. And there was never any intention from Taehyung to say that sentence, until finally he really couldn't help it. What makes it finally explode? Someone behind the stage said that before performing, Taehyung had received a message. He read the message, stared at his phone screen for a few minutes, and from that moment he changed. Shut yourself up. Not much to say. But no one knows the content of the message. And what makes it all the more confusing? Jungkook seems to know. Some witnesses said that when Taehyung received the message, Jungkook saw it too, and his expression turned pale. Was it a threatening message? Or is it a reminder of something they've been trying to bury? Is there a third party who deliberately provokes these emotional outbursts in the most vulnerable moment? And the most heartbreaking question, is this all about unrequited love? Over the years, rumors of their closeness have continued to roll in, although they have always been denied. But their chemistry, the closeness that goes so deep, the way they look at each other and smile at each other, always sparks curiosity. Many fans named him soulmates, and many considered him just a fan service. But now, all those theories are coming back to the surface with even greater force. Have Taehyung and Jungkook lived anything more than a friendship? Was there a secret promise they once made and now cracked? And why did HYB look so panicked to the point that they started restricting camera access to the 2 members? After the incident, the live broadcast usually held by BTS was suddenly cancelled. Their Weverse account is no longer active. There is no vlog. There is no behind the scenes. Just silence. And from that silence, thousands of speculations were born that continue to fuel public curiosity. And then came one video, 38 seconds long, which was accidentally shot by AFA, and in the video, Taehyung and Jungkook are seen standing in a backstage hallway. They don't know they're being recorded. Taehyung looked like he was crying. Jungkook hugged her for a while, then Taehyung's low voice said, "If you really love me, why do we still have to hide?" And Jungkook just closed his eyes. Didn't say. But the embrace tightened. After that incident, the stage never felt the same again. Even though the lights were on and the music was playing, something was missing from the atmosphere that had always been warm and trusting. And when the cameras were no longer recording, as the audience slowly left the venue with their heads full of questions, Taehyung sat alone in the waiting room. Jungkook wasn't there. Managers tried to distract media attention. Some staff quickly spread the issue that the moment was just part of a more emotional, new concept. But who can just believe it? There is no script. No gimmick. And there was never any intention from Taehyung to say that sentence, until finally he really couldn't help it. What makes it finally explode? Someone behind the stage said that before performing, Taehyung had received a message. He read the message, stared at his phone screen for a few minutes, and from that moment, he changed. Shut yourself up. Not much to say. But no one knows the